Man, that card ended crazy. Leon Edwards getting that knockout. Luke Rockhold looking more durable than his entire career inside one fight. Aldo fought strangely, maybe because of the elevation and stuff. Merab did what he had to do, I guess. A lot of people did not like that performance at all. Tyson Pedro looked as expected. Probably needs to step up in competition, and the rest of the fights were okay. I mean, think about the main event though. Kamaru Usman, Leon Edwards. Those guys are in fantastic shape to be fighting for 5 rounds like that. In elevation too. And it's not all about the physical training, man. It's also about the diet. And you're not going to get anything better than Factor. Bring it to your doorstep, the perfect nutrition meals, especially after workouts. A lot of us are working out, lifting weights, in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu class or whatever it is, and many of us run into the same kind of problems. What to eat after a good workout to get all of your nutrition? As everybody knows, diet is just as important as the actual workouts. I don't have that problem anymore. Now I don't even have to think about it. Factor solves it all for you. Cuts out all the stressful planning, prepping, and even grocery trips. You don't need to do that anymore. The meals arrive pre-prepared and ready to eat. They have over 25 meal options that cover the entire spectrum, whether it be you're focusing on keto, vegan, vegetarian, seafood, meat, plant-based, whatever you want. They have the options pre-prepared for you. It's actually all that I've been eating. It tastes good. It's great for you. It takes the whole thinking process out of it, and you could just enjoy the meal and move on with your day. And for those who want the perfect diet plan, make sure to head to go.factor75.com/theweasel130 and use the code theweasel130 to get $130 off across 6 boxes. Again, that's go.factor75.com/theweasel130 so you can get that big discount. And let's talk about Leon Edwards' win, man, because that was crazy. It was looking like Usman was going to ride this out to a decision. I was expecting the rest of the 5th round to go on like the 4th and the 3rd did, and then boom, out of nowhere. I needed time to process what happened there because I saw the head kick, I see Usman fall, I'm like, wait, did Leon just really win this? Leon is a pretty patient guy. He's not a kind of fighter that puts a volume on you, he goes after you, any of that stuff. He's never been that way. He's always been this kind of sniper, and that's ultimately what he was looking for. He called it before the fight, he got it, and he said it after the fight. That's exactly what he was looking for. That was his mentality, to get that one shot out there. And Leon took a lot of things away from Usman. Took away his 100% takedown defensive rate, took away his title, took away his undefeated streak in the UFC. In a way, he took away his durability. Leon Edwards really went after Usman's records, and it does speak to how great Usman is. And that's of course why we're gonna have to see the rubber match. And we have to talk about it. It is something important, but I'll preface it with this. Kamaru Usman looked like in his prime in this fight. He looked as good as ever. Didn't look like anything was hindering him. The elevation seemed to have helped him more than it helped Leon. But getting knocked out like that at 35 years old for the first time in your career, it could have some lasting effects because that was a one-shot knockout. And not just from a punch, it was from a head kick, which is way more devastating. So at that older age, I don't know how he's going to recover after that. It would not surprise me if Usman does not show up the same. Maybe like technically, offensively, he's still the same guy, but maybe not be able to take the same kind of punches and kicks and stuff. But regarding the fight itself, the thing that hurt Usman completely was his inability to get the back and go for chokes and just Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in general. I've talked about in my prediction video that the guys over there at Black Zillions and El Sanford MMA, a ton of them don't have this Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game at all. From Anthony Johnson to Michael Johnson to Jason Jackson, Kamaru Usman, Rashad Evans back in the day, none of these guys displayed like any Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in their entire careers. And look what Leon did. Leon had no grappling to him. Kamaru had a head start when it came to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in a way because he can use his wrestling with it. He already had the understanding of grappling. He already had the muscle memory of grappling. Leon had none of it. And he worked so hard over the years to build himself into a complete mixed martial artist, which he is today. He got Kamaru Usman's back, and he had to force that transition. He had to get that out of Usman. Leon gave his back to Usman, so it was there for the taking, and he never did it. If Usman just had the ability to get your back and choke you out, the fight probably would never went to the 5th round. And at his age where he is right now, I don't know if he'll ever be able to develop that in time. That deficiency is going to be hurting Usman every single time when opponents try to stand up, because they could just give their back up to him, where they can't do that with 99% of other fighters, and he really doesn't do anything about it. He just hangs on. And you best believe Leon is going to continuously get better in the grappling department, in the wrestling department. He probably learned a lot of things in this fight with Usman. And as we know about him, even in layoffs, after every single one of his fights, whatever the situation is, the guy always comes back better. Now, how is Usman going to handle that loss? How is he going to address this fight going forward? That's a very interesting part of this. And I can't lie, man, when Leon won, that was so heartwarming. It seemed like it was meant to be, in a way. I mean, the Rocky name, the way his career unfolded, him becoming a champion when nobody really believed it. I mean, people were calling that, Hamza was going to wreck this guy. People were saying that Usman's going to dominate him. People were saying that Colby would dominate him. People said a lot of things about Leon Edwards. He didn't deserve a title shot. Everyone counted him out. And he became the champion. He became the only man to defeat Usman in the organization and knocked him out. Took all these records away from him. He became that guy that many others tried and all failed. So how good really is Leon Edwards? He's pretty good to say the least. And that's another belt for the UK, the second champion ever for that region, and it must be amazing for them. First it was Michael Bisping, they were all counting on him. I saw the video where all the UK fighters were really rooting for the guy, supporting Leon, and it's amazing to see that from your own country. It's amazing to see that when your own country backs you up like that, and he became the champ. Anthony Joshua just lost. He was trying to get the title, and that was a pretty good fight. I know a lot of people, instead of coming to the United States to watch Leon fight, they went to go watch Anthony Joshua, but who really is the champ? Who really is that star? Who really is that great fighter? Leon just beat Usman and became the champion. So he is right now the best fighter probably across all combat sports from the UK. And it'd be amazing to see more back him up. If he gets a fight over there, it's going to be crazy. Imagine with Leon Edwards headlining a UK card. You have Paddy Pimblett on there. You got Molly McCann on there. Jai Herbert. You get a bunch of guys over there. That place is going to explode unlike ever before. And honestly, I think Leon deserves that. If they're able to do it, if they're able to go over there and fight in the UK again, I think Leon should be the next one. I think he deserves it. He just fought Usman in the United States. The rubber match should be in the UK. Who's going to win, man? I have no idea. It really can go back and forth. Usman can win this, Leon can win this in many different ways. But for sure, it's going to be another great fight. This one was really good. That one's going to be amazing as well. And then let's talk about that co-main event. Paulo Costa defeats Luke Rockhold by a decision. The first time Luke actually went to a decision in the UFC. The guy's either knocking someone out, submitting someone, or getting knocked out himself. And it just speaks to how great his fights actually are. His fights are always memorable. You always remember a Luke Rockhold fight, whether he wins or loses. And man, did he show an otherworldly level of toughness. I never thought Luke would have that in him. I never thought that he would be able to go back and forth with somebody, landing a lot of shots. He was getting hit himself. He got rocked. He rocked Costa. And I have to just go on and say that if this was prime Luke Rockhold, I think he would have won the fight for sure. A younger, hungrier Luke Rockhold, I think he would have won this fight. Because Rockhold was making a lot of questionable decisions in there. He was shooting takedowns from too far. He was being way overexcited in the grappling sequences, and that is something I never saw from Rockhold before. Rockhold was always a very methodical grappler. In his prime, he is one of the most dangerous grapplers ever in the sport. It was clear in this fight that he was over the hill. When his grappling is not even matching what he's usually able to do, you know he's kind of out of this. And he was thinking about retirement before the fight. It just looked like he wanted to come out here and expend everything he has so he has no more regrets, because he keeps leaving and coming back, not retiring, but taking these hiatuses like layoffs and then coming back, trying the light heavyweight division. He loses, takes a bit of time off, comes back to middleweight. It seemed like he's been mentally checked out of the sport for some time, but he just wanted to get every last bit of him out there so he knows that he doesn't need to come back anymore. But about Paulo Costa, I mean, he showed to be a bit smarter in this fight than before. He wasn't taking part in the recklessness that Luke was bringing to him. And that was actually great to see from Costa. It's a bit more mature from him. Because usually, like, for example, the Yoel Romero fight, he went crazy. They went after each other back and forth. When Rockhold was trying to go after Costa, Costa was being the more patient guy in there, the more calculated fighter in there, especially when it came to the wrestling and the grappling exchanges. He was using every single opportunity Luke gave him in order to stand up or reverse the position. But if I'm going to be honest, it just shows that Costa probably isn't on that level. He probably isn't competing with the Whitakers and the Adesanyas and, of course, the Vittoris and maybe even the Stricklands. These guys may be way above Paulo Costa. Still iffy on the Pereira. We got to see how he performs against Adesanya. Costa's probably on the same level or around the same level of Strickland, of Brunson, maybe Brunson. That seems to be like the ceiling of his skills. And I've been pointing it out, man. Some people want to argue against me on this, but Paulo Costa is just shown throughout his entire career does not hit as hard as he looks or as people believe that he hits. Now, of course, he's a big guy, he's a middleweight, he has power in general, but compared to the other middleweights, he just doesn't hit as hard. He just doesn't have that same kind of finishing ability, right? He doesn't knock anybody out with one punch. He has one-shot knockdown in his entire career, and that was against Romero, and Romero kind of did half the work. He turned his chin into Costa's fist, moving forward at it, so he was a big reason as to why that left hook hit him so hard. But still, Romero got back up like nothing happened. Costa just went after Rockhold and hit him with everything he had. And Rockhold, yes, he got rocked a couple times, but Rockhold's never taken shots like that before. And he's an older age. His chin is completely withered away from all the knockout losses. He just got knocked out by Jan Blachowicz. His chin is weaker than ever before, and he was able to take everything Costa threw at him. But people will say maybe Luke Rockhold's chin is not as bad as we thought. No, it is pretty bad. I mean, whenever the guy gets hit, he's getting hurt. Because we have the historical facts that Costa doesn't usually hurt opponents like that. He has to barrage you with consecutive shots to hurt you. And he's more of a body puncher, body kicker than anything else. And what it just goes to tell you is big muscles, looking jacked and all that, it doesn't always mean you hit hard. Look at Israel Adesanya. Adesanya definitely hits harder than Costa. And he's way skinnier. I think people are just looking at Costa the wrong way. I think they have the wrong idea of him. He's not so much of a headhunter. He's not so much of a guy that knocks you out with headshots. He rips you to the body, weakens you, your chin becomes much more exposed, and you're a lot more tired so you can't brace for the punches. And that's how he knocks you down. He does that to everybody. And what's next for Paulo Costa? I'd love to see him fight Sean Strickland. That seems to be a logical next fight. I think they were supposed to fight each other in the past. I think it's a good fight, to be honest. And those two are right next to each other in the rankings. And then we talk about Merab Dvalishvili beating Jose Aldo by a decision. And man, this fight was not fun to watch. For two reasons. Number one, Merab was stalling the fight the whole time. I understand that's what he had to do. He was trying to win at the end of the day, but that's not going to get him a title shot. That's not going to wow anybody, impress anybody for him to fight a champion in case Sterling loses. And that's another issue going into it. Merab and Sterling are both teammates. They're both very close friends. That's an issue for the division moving forward if Sterling keeps winning. And the other reason why this fight was hard to watch was because Aldo's usually performing pretty well these days, but maybe the age has hit him overnight. That happens to some guys. I don't know if that happened to Aldo, but slow starter, not doing anything in the first and the third round, very strange to see from him. Now, I know the elevation most likely had an effect on him because he was looking tired in the third round. He was fending off Merab for like 15 minutes against the cage. And that is very taxing on you, but the higher elevation definitely had to have an effect as well. Aldo's usually not gassing out even when opponents go this route against him, in 3-round fights that is. But the strangest thing was the fact that he wasn't doing anything. I mean, there were so many opportunities throughout the whole fight where he was able to pressure Merab back by just presenting some offense, not necessarily going crazy to get a knockout, but just throw something forward. Merab would back up, and Aldo could have kept that constant pressure on him, get him to back up to the fence a bit, and hold that constant stalking. But no, whenever Aldo would break away from the fence, defend the takedown, and reverse the position where now Merab is closer to the fence than Jose Aldo is, Aldo would just back up all the way to the other side of the cage. It was very strange, and Merab was really not doing anything to cause the backup. It was so strange to see from him. And I know he was talking about retirement not too long ago, maybe that had an effect on it, I don't really know what it was. But it seemed like Aldo could have won this fight if he just did more. If he just threw more, if he just tried to win more. Merab literally won this fight because he tried to win more. And his method was just holding Aldo against the cage. Imagine losing by someone holding you against the cage. That is crazy. It is very disappointing considering Aldo's previous performances. So who do these two fight next? Merab is number 6. He beat the number 3 Jose Aldo, which means that they're going to be right next to each other in the rankings. Merab might rise up to number 5. Aldo might be down to number 6. And that puts Corey and Marlon Vera up number 3 and 4 respectively. So you could do Merab versus the winner of Petr Yan versus Sean O'Malley. But even that's tough because if O'Malley knocks Petr Yan out, he's going to get the title shot. He's probably going to get it for the fact that he's such a big star and knocking out the number 1 contender in emphatic fashion. We can see the logic for O'Malley getting a title shot. Overall, it should be Merab versus the winner of that fight. And the winner of that gets a title shot. Marlon Vera should be the next in line right now. And as for Jose Aldo, I think he should fight the winner of Corey Sandhagen versus Song Yadong. He might lose to both those guys, to be honest, though. And ultimately, that's the end of the reactions, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to give this a thumbs up. If you enjoyed my content, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.